asked former homeless people, what did you need the most? What was the best thing someone did for you? Gifted me an old, baggy waterproof jacket with a big hood. It had many pockets too. A little large to carry around, since I was carrying a lot of other stuff, too, but proved very useful. It was very rainy at that time. Hygiene. Anyone who let me take a shower and shave was an angel. Employment. I wasn't addicted, and wasn't mentally ill. But I had legal trouble, and employers aren't going to hire someone who is probably going to jail 5 months from now. I had to work under the table for like $4 per hour. If there had been a way for me to get a decent temp job, I could have probably got a shitty apartment for the interim. I was able to secure a spot in a church basement for a little while. The nicest thing anyone did was one of the people from church brought me a Super Nintendo and a stack of games to help keep the boredom and loneliness at bay. Clean socks and underwear and basic hygiene. The best thing a person did for me was explain to me that nobody gives a fuck about me except me and my family. That conversation went a long way to me stopping shooting up in alleys and getting a career. Showers and a place to wash your clothes to save as much money for food to be able to get dollar menu items and feed yourself 3 times off $5 and some change. Not sure if living in the car counts as homeless though, but a 93 Accord ain't exactly a home. For me it was socks. Shoes too. But the simplest thing of socks made me feel better about myself. When it was cold, I could pull out a pair or 4 to use on my feet or hands. My wife was homeless as a teenager. On Friday afternoons, a businessman would walk up to her and ask her if she was hungry. She would say yes, and he would take her into the restaurant on the corner. She never felt any danger with him, and she has had to cut somebody badly before. He was just some dude offering her a meal. He would let her get anything in the menu. He would sit and read the paper and drink a cup of coffee. There was never any conversation. When he was finished, he would pay the bill and leave. There was never any exchange of words other than "you hungry?" and "have what you want," and "have a good afternoon." This happened multiple times. She never felt like a project to him. She never felt less than him. She never felt in danger. He was just a guy who saw a dirty girl on the street who needed to eat. She has since gotten her GED, graduated from a trade school with a fitness degree, and now has earned her MBA with honors. She is an amazing woman and an amazing mother. The one wish she has is that she can run into the businessman who bought her lunches and thank him. I was homeless with a dog, so that made everything a lot more difficult. Just finding enough food and water for us both to survive. When I was first homeless, it would get pretty cold at night and it was hard to keep blankets because when it rained and they got wet it took forever for them to dry again. Me and my dog would huddle together under a tarp just shivering. This is the best spot we had. Lived at an abandoned tire shop, in a tire rack on a sort of bed I made us of stuff I found in various dumpsters. I would pick up bottles of water or whatever kind of drink people throw away, and fill them up at a water faucet outside this church that was nearby. They never bitched me out, so that was really nice. I was so scared every time I would go to fill up water. I remember shaking so bad, eyes darting around everywhere, ready to bolt. But it was so hot, I was so thirsty and hungry. Sometimes on my way to get water I'd get too tired to even walk anymore from the heat and dehydration. I'd literally fall asleep on the sidewalk on a main street for hours. No one once ever stopped to check if I was dead. The best thing someone did was getting me off the streets. I was passed out under a bride with my dog, and I get woken up by this guy holding a box of donuts. I was in awe. He gave me 2, one for me and I gave the other to my dog. It tasted so good. Food. And it hadn't even been on the ground. He was with 3 people, they were part of an outreach group. They got me into a shelter, with my dog, that day. I was just crying, so happy, so thankful. I was barely surviving. When I lost my job after the Y2K remediation, I wound up broke as a joke and no hopes of job from anywhere in Oregon at the time. Girlfriend got asked to come take over her family's failing company business in Utah and we decided to go for it. Got here with nowhere to live, no money, 1/4 tank of gas. We lived in our cars for a while, then we found a row of 3 abandoned houses in Provo and squatted in the middle one. While she tried to rescue the family business, I got a gig delivering those stupid free newspapers that people get in their driveway. Wife's car was a long F350, so we could deliver a ton of papers. That's what kept us fed. I was 32 and a paper route was my only income. As far as the nicest thing anyone did. One day a guy came and knocked on our door, saying he was the house owner. We said sorry and we will pack up and GTFO right now. However, the guy was nice. He said he owned all 3 of these empty houses and thanked us for keeping the crackheads out of them, and he let us stay there. He even turned the power on for us. WTF. 6 months after that I wound up getting a job at eBay, and it was onward and upward from there. So really all we needed was a chance, we got it. Currently homeless, okay, and my way to getting in a place, the one that struck me the most, I was sleeping in my car in the back of a parking lot about a week after I lost my place. About 6:30 a.m. security knocks on my window. Sorry, lady, I can't let you stay here, the usual. I apologized and told him I'd be out of his hair in a few minutes. So I got up and was packing my blanket and pillow into the trunk when he came back and handed me $5, told me to go get a coffee. I pride myself on the fact that I'm working, not begging. He's the only person who has handed me money. It was one of the most touching things that has ever happened to me. I sat in my car and ugly cried for about 10 minutes, then went and got myself that coffee. The biggest thing someone did for me, however, was a complete stranger covering the cost of my storage unit for a month. I'm in there almost every day, clean clothes and all that. She does eBay or something similar. We've run into each other a couple times a week since I became homeless. She picked up on the fact that I was leaving in different clothes than I had coming in and asked about my situation. I'll admit, I was a little defensive, but honest. Stopped seeing her around after that, not sure if she moved or changed her routine or what. Come the end of the month I go into the office to pay my bill and am told that it's been covered. I wish I could thank her. I'm homeless, currently living in a motel, have been homeless for 4 years as of this month. We need ways to clear our names so we can actually move into places. My mom got evicted from our apartment after getting laid off and now we can't move in anywhere half decent anymore. Only motels and living with other people. Also, stability is really nice, but almost impossible to come by for more than a few months. The nicest thing was an old couple taking in me and my mom for 3 months. Some really great people and I'll always appreciate them. I was homeless at 14 in New York City. The thing I needed most was to be able to see the finish line, to know when this would come to an end. The feeling was like being put in prison without committing a crime and not being told your release date, so you couldn't even count the days. A desolation so dark that it all but drained the life from me. I'm 60 years old now and that feeling still comes back to me. At times I feel like I'm still on the street. Aged out of foster care, nowhere to go but a squat house. I was what Utah folks called a planter box kid. Spent a year doing any job and every job I possibly could to get out of it. Then I joined the army, spent 4 years as a soldier and failed a marriage, which meant when I got a medical discharge after my deployment I was homeless again. Spent a little while in a veteran group home, but they only give you 90 days to get a place and get out. My disability pay wasn't enough for rent, but I went to a day labor and stood with the Mexicans at Home Depot for odd jobs. Finally my best friend offered me to move back home to Texas, so work as a ranch hand for her dad, so I moved back to Texas. She became a huge advocate for me with the VA and now I run a ranch. I'm off all my pain/psychoactive drugs and haven't been drunk in 3 years. Oh, and now my best friend is my wife. We have 4 kids.